Well, Trump's sham case in New York with Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen and Judge Juan Merchan is about to wrap up. The jury is in deliberation. They've been given instructions, very confusing, very unfair instructions by Merchan. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm just going to give you guys a quick update because this case is almost over. Some predict Trump will get off. I've predicted he's going to get in maximum trouble just because Democrats will lie and do anything. It's not going to represent anything true. It will eventually get appealed, but the judge does not care. He just wants to get his points against Trump for this election. Let's watch Andrew McCarthy. This is the one that Trump always quotes, is Andrew McCarthy on the facts of this case. He's a legal scholar who Trump really respects.
In a normal criminal case, every statutory crime has what we call elements of the offense. Like in a bank robbery case, it's, you have to rob, it's got to be a financial institution, you have to show intent. Those are the things the jury has to agree on unanimously that they were proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
So normally they have to agree on what the felony is, okay? But this one, the felony, is not in the initial accounting error that Trump had. It's in the cover-up is where the felony come from. And Juan Merchan knows that the jury is not likely to agree that this was a cover-up or a felony. So here's his creative workaround, and it's very complicated, but McCarthy helps iron it out for us.
Here, what we're doing is taking the element that actually makes this a felony, because remember, falsification of records is normally a misdemeanor in New York. What makes it a felony is that you're concealing or committing another crime.
And that's, by the way, the only reason this thing was allowed to go to trial was because they made up that cover-up story. Otherwise, the statute of limitations would have gone away for the misdemeanor. It would have, though he could not have brought the court case. Alvin Bragg couldn't have unless it was a felony. So he created the bogus charge to allow them to open it up against Trump. And it's going to be very hard to prove.
And here the judge is telling them they don't have to agree about what the other crime is under circumstances where that not only is what makes this a felony, what makes it a 4-year potential prison penalty rather than a year or less.
So they don't have to agree with the other. There's 3 counts to it besides the cover-up. So it would be paying Michael Cohen. It would be illegally communicated with Michael Cohen. It would be whatever it is. They don't have to agree on that crime. And that's the one they should have to agree with, meaning if they only get 4, they can get all 12 juries to agree on some crime, which normally they'd have to be totally unanimous with that cover-up. They're going to be able to hang Trump. So this is Merchan providing the maximum opportunity for this jury to recombine their votes to be able to get Trump.
But it's also what gets us into the courtroom, because if this had been a misdemeanor, the time to bring this case would have lapsed in 2019.
And if it was a misdemeanor, Alvin Bragg would have excused it, because he always excuses misdemeanors. In fact, he takes felons and downcharges them to misdemeanor and then lets them go.
So the only reason they're still able to bring this case is because it's a felony, allegedly, and yet now the judge is saying, you don't have to agree on what the felony is.
Yeah, this judge is corrupt. He's going to go down in the history books as corrupt, and he doesn't care because he has a job to do. He's going to just retire and make a ton of money being a spokesperson, a Jeffrey Toobin over at MSNBC, and make his money and get his big fat, be a celebrity at all the Democrat parties. He's not trying to tell the truth or do his job. Now, here's why Trump still wins. You guys are saying, Doug, this is all bad news. Where's the Trump win? No, this is a huge Trump win. First of all, Trump wants to go to jail. He wants a guilty verdict because Kash Patel said earlier on Benny Johnson's show, if Trump goes to jail, this election is over. Trump wins. Just so you know, the easiest path to Trump's win is if this is guilty and he goes to jail. Here's also why Trump wins. Look at this court sketch. This is what most people see all week because there's no cameras in the courtroom. They see this crummy sketch. They see these crummy sketches. And then after they see the crummy sketches, out comes the man of the hour. Trump comes out and addresses the whole nation and is just able to create great news. Here's an example of him coming out today and what he said.
In listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt, because of the confliction, very, very corrupt. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges.
So every court day, Trump comes out and gets to do that kind of campaign speech. Remember, the camera doesn't show the other side. You get to see those crummy court drawings for them. But for Trump, you get to see him come out every day and he basically slams Biden, promotes his own campaign, and the votes are coming into Trump. It's working, in other words. Here's some other headlines. Here's CNN Live right now. Live updates. Jury deliberation begins in Trump hush money trial. If convicted, will Trump go to jail? This is the New York Times. Here are the penalties he could face. And then here's CBS News. What happens if Trump is convicted in New York? No one can really say. Well, I can say he wins the election if he gets convicted in New York. Here's more of Trump's speech.
These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and...
I love that too. The whole country is a mess, and he brings up the borders. And that is the number one issue at this election right now. So right now, every camera came on here to hear him weigh in on Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels was totally used. You know, if she's a Democrat, she's screwing up so bad because she got Trump elected. She's used, shamed, and just like her entire career interacting with men, the Democrat Party will discard her like a dirty condom.
All done by Joe Biden. This judge contributed to Joe Biden, and far worse than that, but I'm not allowed to talk about it because I have a gag order. Far worse than that, by 1,000 times worse than that. The worst I've ever heard, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah, Trump can't talk about it, but I can. I can tell you guys how Juan Merchan is a completely corrupt, compromised judge, purely operating with the Democrat Party. Has totally gone against his oath of office, totally discredited as a judge forever. This will be remembered forever, as he will be that kind of Benedict Arnold judge who became a Democrat operative on the bench to go after a political opponent. That's the kind of guy he is.
We're going to bring back our nation November 5th. Remember, most important day in the history of our country. In the meantime, this trial is rigged. Thank you.
I love that ending, but November 5th, we turn it around. I'm Doug in Exile.